Welcome back. I will now be reviewing all of Sunday's action. I do apologize. I did not have time to do previews for it. But what I'll do is I'll go game by game. I'll predict who I think should have won. I'll give the ultimate results and the final scores of each game from week 6 of the NFL, starting with the San Francisco 49ers and the Atlanta Falcons. I would have predicted that San Fran would have gotten the victory in this one. It was not meant to be, as the Falcons got a huge victory with a 28-14 final. Both of these teams are now sitting at 3-3. The next matchup has the New England Patriots taking on the Cleveland Browns. And the fact that the Patriots had their third or fourth string quarterback, as obviously Mac Jones is out with injuries, as well as Brian Hoyer, I thought that the Browns would have been able to get the upset, I guess you could say, over Bill Belichick and friends, but unfortunately it was not meant to be, as the Patriots got a 38-15 win over the Browns. The Patriots are now back at 500 with a 3-3 record, while the Cleveland Browns fall to 2-4. Despite being back at home in Lambeau, the Packers were not able to get the job done. Obviously, I would have predicted the Packers to get the victory, but unfortunately, it was not meant to be, as they got swept by both the New York teams. Obviously, last week in London, the Giants got the victory, and this week, the Jets came into Lambeau with a huge victory over the Green Bay Packers. 27-10 is the final. The Jets are now sitting at 4-2, while the Green Bay Packers fall to 3-3. A battle of the AFC South between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts. Honestly, I probably would have predicted a tie, because the AFC South is just so weak this year. I don't understand why. You'd think on paper, with all the talent, with the quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, that this would be a tough division to crack for any of these teams. But unfortunately, as I said, it's the weakest division, in my opinion, of the AFC. So, as I said, I probably would have predicted the tie, but if I had to go one way or the other, I may have leaned more towards the Jaguars, only because I thought they would have bounced back, especially after the loss last week. But it was not meant to be, as the Colts got a huge victory. 34-27 was the final score. The Colts are now sitting at 3-2-1, while the Jaguars fall to 2-4. The Minnesota Vikings went into Florida to take on the Miami Dolphins. And maybe if Tua was 100%, or if he was playing, the Dolphins may have had a better chance at this game. I personally would have predicted the Vikings to win, as I'd said previously, that since Tua has been out for the past couple of games, the Dolphins are obviously going to be struggling, to say the least. The Vikings are sitting at the top of their division of the NFC North with a 5-1 record, while the Dolphins fall to 3-3. Joe Burrow went back to his old stomping grounds, and apparently he was repping a Jamar Chase #1 jersey for the LSU University squad. So good on him to be supporting local, to say the least. But the Bengals got the huge 30-26 victory. I would have predicted, obviously, that Cincinnati would get the victory. They had a slow start to the season, but they seem to be getting their ish together right now. So the Bengals are now back at 500 with a 3-3 record, while the Saints fall to 2-4. The Baltimore Ravens and the New York Giants took battle. And once again, the Ravens, who I would have predicted to get the victory, were still not able to hold on to a lead. Yet another their third loss of the season, but the third straight loss that involved having a commanding lead going into the second half or going into the fourth quarter. So the Ravens have an okay offense, and they got obviously a fantastic quarterback in Lamar Jackson, but he can't play both sides of the ball. So he can only do so much. The Ravens fall to 3-3, while the Giants got a huge victory, as I said, 24-20, and they now improve to 5-1. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers went into the Steel City, and I obviously would have predicted, and I believe as a lot of people would have predicted, that the Tampa Bay squad would have gotten the victory over said Steelers, since obviously there's no Big Ben around anymore. Unfortunately, it was not meant to be, as the Steelers got a huge upset victory, 20-18. The Steelers are now sitting at 2-4, while the Buccaneers are at 500 with a 3-3 record. Carolina Panthers went into Los Angeles, and both these teams have been kind of struggling, to say the least. I personally would have predicted that the Rams would have gotten the victory, and sure enough, they finally did. Obviously, Baker Mayfield isn't playing for the Panthers, despite having injury. So the Panthers are now sitting at 1-5, and as I said, the Rams finally got back to 500 with a 3-3 record. Final score 24-10. The Arizona Cardinals went into Seattle. I would have thought that they would have gotten the victory. I would have predicted Arizona to get the victory. Unfortunately, they only managed to muster 9 total points in fourth quarters. Final score 19-9 for Seattle. Seattle is now sitting at 3-3, while the Cardinals fall to 2-4. Quite possibly the game of the week, and two teams that are almost destined to play each other in the playoffs, what seems every single year the past 2 seasons. Obviously, they played. The Bills finally slayed their demons in Kansas City and got a huge away victory. 24-20, the final score. The Bills now improved to 5-1, while the Kansas City Chiefs are sitting at 4-2. And Sunday night, between two NFC East rivals, the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. I have been constantly picking the Cowboys to lose, so I probably would have predicted for them to get the victory, especially when you have a elite quarterback in Cooper Rush. Unfortunately, it was not meant to be, as the Eagles still remain perfect with Justin Fields with a 26-17 victory. They obviously are now sitting at 6-0, while the Cowboys are sitting at 4-2. Until next time, take care.